Hey guys, back with another Q&A session here where we answer your questions that come in from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere in between. So the question we have here is, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting for fat loss and eating for a lifestyle overall? Simple stuff. I've been intermittent fasting for the past 8 years. So it's been a long time for me. That's how I eat. I don't eat breakfast. I don't have anything against it. I personally just don't do it. I don't think it's the most important meal of the day. I don't feel it has any more importance than any other meal. So how I started off doing it about 8 years ago in terms of fasting was I would eat from like that 11 to 7 window. So I would eat all my meals from 11 a.m. Till 7 p.m. That's what I would do. Then it gradually shifted from like 12 to 8. And now I typically, 99% of the time, I eat from probably about 2 o'clock or 2:30 until about 8:30, maybe 10 at the latest. But most of my stuff's wrapped up between probably 2 and 8 on average. Sometimes it's 2 and 6. Sometimes I'll go 24 hours without eating. Just depends on what I'm doing. And I'll go into detail that for a second. But intermittent fasting, in a nutshell, you guys, if you're unfamiliar, is basically just eating in a preset window. And you guys all do it already. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you go through your normal day and you wake up and you eat at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when you eat. There was a time you stopped eating the night before. So let's say that was 10 o'clock. So basically you were fasting from 10 p.m. till 8 a.m. It's basically just your 12 hours right there. All I do is just extend it out a little bit longer. I think on average, when you guys do that, the average person in general, you're going to be leaner overall. You're living your life by a set of kind of preset rules, and the average person has a hard time with obviously portion control and tracking and planning and everything else because they don't make food in terms of that a priority in their life. So what I mean is, if you set a window that you're only going to eat for 8 hours instead of eating for 17 hours, unless you go batshit crazy in those 8 hours and just smash your face full of food, overall through a course of a year you're going to be eating less because there's less time that you're eating, and hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But on top of that, I see most people tend to do better on it. They're leaner on average. For me personally, it's easier for me to be lean throughout the course of the year. I don't hate my life. I don't struggle with it. I find it easier to just wake up, drink water, coffee, or tea, and just kind of flow through my day. And typically I train in my schedule at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I wake up at 3:50 in the morning, so I just roll through my whole day on coffee and water for the most part. After a workout is when I eat my first meal. I typically eat 2 meals a day, one post-workout and one later in the night. The one later in the night for me is typically the biggest meal, probably the most carb heavy too, depending on what I did training that day. I'm not the only person that does this. Friends of mine in the fitness industry, obviously Corey G does like an anabolic fasting, similar concept. He's one of the leanest dudes I know personally, like myself, and so that's how we've done it. The benefits of fasting, if you're wondering, outside of I think you guys would be leaner overall by kind of living those preset rules, is the amount of inflammation. Obviously, I think it can reduce that in your body overall. I think in terms of just reducing resistance to insulin is a huge thing. And obviously, like I said, I think reducing the overall fat of you is a big thing. Now, you still have to obviously track your macros and have an idea of what's going on. Some of you guys might struggle with it, so I would suggest starting with a smaller number, like maybe the 11 to 7 like I did, would be a good choice. But I just think, and people will say, isn't it really hard to fast? Well, it's the easiest thing in the world because there's no brain work involved in it. You're just not eating. It's pretty simple. I think what people get into a rut or they have a hard time with is when they are trying to eat 6 small meals a day and the meals are all programmed and planned out, and then they miss a meal or they get stuck in traffic or their travel schedule changes and then something's thrown off. They kind of freak out and panic and they don't know what to do. Like where tomorrow I'm going to get on a plane and I'm not going to eat for most of the day because all I'm doing is sitting on my ass. And it doesn't take a lot of energy for me to sit on my ass for 5 hours in an airplane and just do this. So that's kind of how I've lived my life. I find it easier. For me, I had a hard time eating every few hours. I felt bloated, disgusting. I felt like my body couldn't digest and process the food properly. And it caused me a million issues in between. This is the best I felt, obviously, since I've been doing it for 8 long years. Then it evolves and it changes, and you guys will find that. But I would suggest fasting to almost anybody. Obviously, you guys are all different. If you have specific questions, just ask, but that's how I've been eating for a long time. I think you, among the benefits I mentioned, would probably enjoy it, and I think it's an easier way to live your life lean 24/7, 365. So hopefully that answered your question. That's my take on fasting. I'm a fan of it. I love it. I do it. I don't see a time in my life when I'll ever not do it. And again, that's my thoughts. Any other questions you guys ask below? We'll be back next week with another series for you. Have an awesome rest of your day.